Hey guys, it's Red and Kizuna, and I'm back once again with more Red Ranger Isekai. And we got ourselves a very interesting one this time. It seems as if the focus has shifted. There's still the fantasy elements in there, but it really just like blatantly just has like the vibe of Super Sentai. And that's the thing I like about this anime. It has, like I said before in the previous episodes, like the juxtaposition of Super Sentai and not Super Sentai, of the Tokusatsu and the fantasy elements in together. But this episode really leans into the Tokusatsu, so this is really cool. Even the previous episode leaned into it because like it's showing Rania's powers, his Kamen Rider, and I actually called it. It was based on Kamen Rider. It's Kamen Rider O. Yeah, her powers literally are based on Kamen Rider O with the aesthetics of like the Millennium Eyes from like Yu-Gi-Oh. But enough about that. Let's just jump into it. Rania and Red Ranger. They struck a conversation with the luminous that Azir guy on the loose. He's the lumen threat is coming because he has the power to turn objects into sand. And so Ronnie is like, we used to actually be cool back in the day when we were younger because both of us were set up to basically be the leaders of our communities, and so we had to share struggles. So over time we ended up bonding, and eventually he just became like he became who he is, and even with my Kamen Rider power, I can't beat him. The Red Ranger relates to her, and he's like, you know what? I actually had somebody who I was cool with, and we got into it a lot. His name is the BondKiller, and we got into it a lot. We were good buddies because I found out he was one of my good buddies. And even after I defeated him, we still remain good buddies. Sonya asked, you know what? You never really told me your backstory too. I told mine, but so Red's like, okay. He starts to tell his backstory about when he was younger. Both of his parents died, and so this kind family took him in, and he was kind of apprehensive about really just calling him dad and brother and sister and all the other stuff, brother, sister, XYZZYX, and so he was very apprehensive. And they were very understanding. In fact, they took an olive tree and planted it in the backyard. It's like, it's gonna, like, it may not be right now. It's just gonna take time for him to kind of get used to just like, having us as families, but it doesn't stop us from being friends, right?
わかってる。無理して家族になる必要なんてないさ。だから友達になろうぜ。友達ならいつでも誰とでもなれるだろ。
俺とキヨ
Over the years, Hero and Red, they become very good buddies, being very close throughout high school and so on. And so they just pretty much did everything together. They like to hang out, they play games, they, Kill Hero started getting really good at piano and taught Red how to play the piano too. All kinds of just cool stuff. And yeah, Kill Hero was like, we got really popular. So they made friends with like this is my favorite part of this episode, the lots of Toku cameos, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute because their first one is like two characters from Denji Sentai Mega Ranger, which is where we get Power Rangers in space.
ああ、ありがとう。君たちの期待に応えられるように頑張るよ。
Wait, from Mega Ranger? Yeah, from right here, he's from Mega Ranger. Yeah, because Mega Rangers are high school students. So Red basically becomes Kill Hero's hype man, being his best pal and his brother, and so like it's because of he pretty much raises him up, saying like, hey, y'all get with this guy. He's the best. He's awesome. He's my best pal. He's my brother. Let's get it, baby. But one day a monster shows. But as he actually became the Red Ranger, a monster shows up. He morphs and takes him out. And this is around the time where Kill Hero is doing like a piano. I guess he's doing a piano competition, and so there's like a lot of stuff going on. So Red, he come back just worn out. He had been doing Ranger stuff all day, so he just like, oh. And I could call it already that Kill Hero didn't like the fact that he's doing stuff, he's doing all the things, he has all these expectations and that, and he is getting overshadowed by Red doing other stuff because Red, yeah, he really very much is an extrovert, as Red Rangers are. Well, if Red Rangers tend to be, with some exceptions. We're then treated to a bountiful feast of Toku cameos. Specifically, well, the ones that I noticed off the bat are the Red and Blue Rangers from Ninja Sentai Kakurenja, which, by the way, the Red Ranger, it's deep cuts and meta. It's like the combination of deep cuts and meta, because like there's the Red Ranger and the Blue Ranger from Ninja Sentai Kakurenja, which the Red Ranger is the narrator for this anime, and the director knew, and I've said this multiple times before, the director of this anime knows the Red Ranger, who knows several other Rangers who are also voice actors, so this is fun. There's also a cameo from the Red and Yellow Go Busters. These are actually Beast Morphin toys, by the way. There's also the Jetman crew, there's Comrade Akito and 555. There's the Yellow and Pink Ranger from Deca Ranger. This is a whole like buffet of like Super Sentai fan, not even Super Sentai, Toku fan service. This because it's also from Battlefield J and Lupin and Patch Ranger. There's just so much. Actually, that's the Sentai I have not watched yet. I know of it. I know like a little bit here, a little bit there. I know of it, and it's just yeah. And I have not watched it yet. I need to fix that at one point. So a new villain appears named the BondKiller. I like his like look. He's a lot like it's like those Sentai villains that have the power to match the Rangers, and excuse me, and he has the power to match the Rangers and all kinds of stuff like that. And so the Red Ranger, he's like and he starts seeing the BondKiller unleash his powers to start making people all around them, all the Sentai cameos specifically, start to kind of like come at each other sideways about like, oh yeah, like you know what, you kind of suck, your food kind of sucks, all kinds of stuff like that, all kinds of like negative things about one another. And so it's like in order to like break up the bonds, because like the evil organization that fights against Kizuna 5 is all about undoing the bonds that Kizuna 5 stands for. So that's very interesting. But then BondKiller shows up and he starts fighting against Red. The other Rangers help him to come out, and then we're treated to like a full morph sequence and roll call from all the Rangers, and yeah, I'm such a dork. Watch. I promise you, I did not watch the episode ahead of time. I swear I didn't. But I got the poses down mostly. But I promise you, I didn't watch the episode ahead of time. I swear, but I just big Sentai Toku nerd. I love watching. Start picking up on how to do the poses. You start doing them right along with them. Red later finds out that Kyohiro is the BondKiller, and that he had been gifted after the morpher by the bad guys that he'd been fighting up to that point. The evil organization that him and Kizuna 5 have been taking on. So there's like, oh no, and then it starts to hit the Super Sentai beat where like one of the good characters, one of the good allies they have been corrupted by evil powers, and they say all this stuff. Basically, it's a lot like with Majin Vegeta, where it's like, no, I've not been able to like you getting all the attention and all this and that, and I've been left in the shadow. I'm left in your shadow. I have to do that, and now I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna destroy the Kizuna 5, and I'm gonna prove that I'm the better one, and I'm the better one. And your family, and your friendship, and your familial love mean nothing to me. And Kizuna and then Red Ranger's like, nah, I don't buy it. And so like they get into it and fight. But then just enough time passes, and because of the negative energy that the BondKiller had been generating from everybody basically being angry at each other, he used enough of it to grow into monster size, which you already know what that means. It's Megazord time. So, like, Kiyohiro's trying to fight it, like the powers, trying to fight against the powers, and eventually they get to have the Megazord battle, and they end up defeating him, yes. But here's the thing. Yes, they did defeat Kiyohiro as the BondKiller, but Kiyohiro is still the BondKiller. And he didn't just fight Red, not once, not twice, but 13 times. Like, according to Red, he said that we got into it 13 times, but you know what? We're always like cool with each other. Much to even Teltina and Logi, D1 Hater, and Yudra's shock, because as the episode's going on, they're kind of listening in low key, and Logi's like, nah, don't listen to him, he's dumb. And Yudra's kind of like, that's my man. And it's like, Teltina's like the most normal, I feel like Teltina's like the most normal one in that situation, because like, Yudra like has a house for him, and Logi's just a D1 hater. But as Red finishes telling his story, they notice these cards kind of like in the air, and Teltina notices it, and she picks it up, and she gets sucked in. That's like, kind of like, that's freaky. Teltina gets sucked in, Yudra gets sucked in, and like the people of the Sun Force end up getting sucked in. That must mean that the Lumen thread is there, and that's where the episode ends, on an abrupt note. This was a fun episode in the sense that, yes, throughout most of the series, most of the fantasy elements are taking the forefront. Now they've switched over, because now the Tokusatsu elements switched over, and they do it in such a big way, a big fan servicey way, and it's awesome. But there's one cameo I have not talked about yet, and I'll get into it a little bit briefly. The cameo is the one of Mr. Toshiki Inoue. Now, this is written for both anime and Tokusatsu, like Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball. His Toku credits go from Dawn Brothers to Jetman, and it's just really cool. There's a great
He
video
thought his father's writing was too conventional and too
old
old-fashioned, and unwilling to experiment outside of his comfort zone, much like his father himself. When he was observing his father, he decided to look into his secret life. He found his father's best friend and got some information regarding his mistress. While he did,
I also bring it up because he also wrote this episode. So that was one cameo I wanted to say for like the end of like me talking about it. But yes, that's where that's where the episode ends, and all of the extra deep cuts, I'll definitely put them in the description if you want to take a look for yourself. But on that note, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification if I post another video. And I'll see you in the next one, because this is Googleicious. Peace.